Could we move on to food, which obviously Haith is interested in, and that is the question of the quality of the food that you're providing your birds. I mean, presumably we agree that if they're going to develop decent pectoral muscles for their flight, if their organs are going to develop properly, if they're going to reproduce, produce eggs, produce spermatozoa, whatever, they need good quality food.
Yes.
What do you do to check the quality of food that you're feeding? Do you just rely on what you're buying, or do you do any test? Do you smell it? Do you put it in your hand? What do you do?
Every time I open a bag of seed, I smell it.
Yeah.
And put my hand in.
Right down.
And this is something which Ted Haith, that's the grandfather who died years ago, Ted, but he told me when I was about 12.
This is Raymond Haith's father?
Yes, Raymond Haith's father. The original owner, Ted.
Yes, yeah.
And it's to get a bag of seed, take your, like that, pull your sleeve up. Yeah.
Chris is actually pulling his sleeve up right now.
And you put your hand into the seed.
It's wonderful.
Do that.
Great demonstration.
And he said, if it's dirty, it's surprising. The hand is got some. It's difficult to get. It can go in, but not as easy. But if it's clean, you can go straight in, come out.
Because it sort of slides over your skin, doesn't it? Yes, if it's
and
good quality.
If it's dirty, there'll be dust on your hand, on your arm. And I often do that. And I smell seed as well. I do a lot of smelling in my bird shed.
Well, I do as well, and I teach students, veterinary students. I say wherever you go, it can be a dairy farm. You just go in there, lift up the where the nuts are that they're feeding there, smell it immediately. And I say smell it as you lift it up, because some of those smells disappear. So this, which I use for teaching, is an example. It actually came from Haith's, of the sort of gunge that their factory is able to remove. This
the dirt, yes.
Yeah, I mean, this has been part and parcel of Haith's, hasn't it, for some time, to remove unwanted debris.
John, you've just passed me something really that we would consider the waste product, or after we've put our product through a cleaner several times, really. So when I look at that, I don't see anything in there that's got any value at all. So
except for students, they can learn from it.
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely a great example of what a diet might look like if it's not clean.
Yes.
Perfect for students. And you can see all sorts of different things here. You can see some things that won't do any great damage, but they just have no value. So these stalks, these bits of stick and so on, they all have a weight. And our main beef with those is that, and our customers is, because they get used to buying a product from us that's clean, is that why are they paying for something that has no value for birds?
Because they don't see it at this stage.
Exactly. And then the next thing is when you look at some of the waste husks, so you've got a black sunflower husk shell there, for example. So if that remains in a mix, then of course it's creating some sort of volume, some weight, but again it offers nothing for birds. Now the interesting thing is what we look at, because some of those things are pretty easy to see, it's really what's at the bottom of that bag there. Yeah, so exactly what Chris said, really. Putting your hand, submerging it into seed, and see what your hand looks like when you've taken your hand out. So John's just presenting a very large poster of a presentation that we gave to the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which is entitled "Dust is a Dirty Word at Haith's Pro." And that's exactly what it is, really. John, several years ago, encouraged us to put our diets under the microscope, and because we asked John whether there was need for quality control of bird diets, and also we used an old strapline from the 1950s, I think, which was "You're safe with Haith."
Safe with Haith, yes.
And John said, "Well, prove it."
Yes.
So we set out on a journey that's taken us several years to basically prove.